Give me more. Mickey Boo. We got a special guest in the building. Y'all, Ricky came through to let us know how his life behind his lens.
What's going on, Ricky?
Yes, how are you today?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm good. Come to find out, you do a lot of interesting things. But before we get into those things, I want to know how life was for you growing up.
Well, that's actually a good question. Life growing up for me was like my parents are pastors.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So, and then on top of that, my dad was an ex-NASCAR driver. So we used to travel a lot. So I ended up being homeschooled because my grandparents were drag racers for Dodge back in the 60s. And then he had a music group, and we ended up going on tour. In the midst of that, my parents were, I'm not going to say really stern, but they just didn't play. Like, when it came to working, they truly believed that scripture where it says, a man that don't work, don't eat. So they were not a lazy, you couldn't be lazy in the house. I went and got a job for Southern Natural Gas as one of the engineers for their gas pumping engines, like where we pump it from Texas to Savannah up to the coast. I do body work, mobile mechanic, car transportation, freight transportation, HVAC, electrical. I have a music studio. I do audio engineering. I play the keys. I play the drums. I play a little guitar. I do vocal coaching, ghost writing. The list keeps going. And I have a bus transportation business. So
Wow. Now you said your parents were pastors or preachers. What is the terminology for that?
Well, my dad's the bishop at the church. My mom's the first lady. So,
Okay. So do she preach as well?
Very well, yes. Yes.
Okay. And so how was that growing up? Because they say the preacher's kid is the worst.
It depends on the kid.
Can you tell me some of the lyrics of the
song? So the hook is...
Can you sing it?
Me. I can sing it. It might crack a little bit, but...
We're gonna get a live show only on Mickey Boo Show. How is life behind your lens? Let's go.
Screaming now. It might crack because this weather been...
Okay, but yeah, this live. We got you. We know everything else is edited, y'all.
I'm screaming. Yeah, so the main part of the hook was, turn on the lighthouse, I need to see the light. Turn on the lighthouse, I need to see the light. Turn on the lighthouse, I need to see the light. Turn on the lighthouse, I need to see the light. So that's what they kept saying. They kept singing it, and then the end was lighthouse, and they respond. So they kept singing that part.
Okay, well, hold on. You moving too fast. I'm processing this. So turn on the light. And what's the second part?
I need to see the light. Storms, and they're equating the storms of the water as the storms in your life. You need to be able to see what a shore is so you can park the ship. But if there's no light in a storm, you won't know where you're going. You're just going to go to and fro. So,
which is darkness. You feel lost. You feel confused. There's no guidance from the physical aspect of things.
And the direction of my path. Because at that time, I was in a dark place
because you just got out of a relationship.
And me trying to do other things wasn't working out. Like that time, I think that's when I started playing for this producer named Jazzy Faye. So I was playing keys for him and stuff. And we would make the songs, but some kind of way the artist would not pick that song to go on the album. So it was just kind of looking over, if that makes any sense. So I was praying for a break, but what hurt me was when it comes to working on everybody else's stuff and pushing everybody else, I have no problem. I will push you like I'm pushing myself. When it comes to my stuff, I would always be like, I'll come back to that later. I could see it for other people, but I didn't see it for me. A friend that I went to school with, he was like, oh, this guy named Kent Jones, he wants to have like this thing for new artists or whatever. So I went there, and I was dressed somewhat like this, so they were trying to figure out what I was going to do, because most of them were rappers. They weren't singers. So I think I ended up being like the last one, and then he's like, yeah, well, I want you to come open up for some shows and stuff. So then I started going to the Macy's, where they had the model, like the runway thing. I went there. That kind of opened up the door for me to do everything I was wanting to do. It was a learning experience. So I went back, and I started my own label. And started developing artists and stuff. And most people know that a lot of times out of every 10 artists, you might get one artist that's actually about their craft. The rest was going nothing but spinning my wheels. I wasn't going forward because it was too many people. It was a story about Gideon that I read, and when he first went to war, he had too many people. And God told me, you have way too many people. You're not going to win because half of them are cowards. There are people that is in your life that are cowards. When it's time to put their money where their mouth at, they're nowhere to be found. If it's time to put any skin in the game, the only skin in the game they're going to put is yours. And they're going to complain 99% of the way in the road of getting to that point, but they're not going to carry a load. That's just dead weight. Why take any extra weight up the hill when you can barely get yourself? And where you're trying to go, it's only going to be enough energy for you to carry yourself.
Correct.
And I'm not just trying to exclude any other race, but us as black folk, we always feel entitled to carry dead weight. A bad decision we made in the past, we think that, okay, I need to carry that like it's a stamp of approval. Okay,
we're definitely not going to put race on that, because it's other people that carry baggage in their life from experience, trauma, any type of substance that cause mental or emotional effects or issues. So it applies to everybody.
Right.
When it comes to weight, relationships, work ethic, like employment or whatever it is in life, there is something that may have hurt you, and depending on how you dealt with it at the time, it may still resonate in you.
Right.
Or some people who soul search that situation and get the lesson out of it right then and there. And when you don't, you repeat cycles.
That if you go around thinking bad stuff, then that's what you're going to attract.
Yes.
But if you go around expecting good stuff,
good things could happen.
Because
the probable cause will be most likely positive if you're always thinking positive. Negative and positive exist, right? I would rather think more positive than negative if I know that works for me. It helps me through situations to think positive about things. And once you come from the course of negativity and you're like washing that away, karma still has its way of doing what it's doing. But once you create a clear path of positive energy, positive thoughts, positive movement, and positive response, then you will start seeing that that's what you're going to attract.
Because think about it, that what makes you different from the rest of people with problems? Everybody has problems, but only few people can solve. Adversary always plans that if I can remind you of what you've been through and paint that picture that that's who you are, then you'll never tap into the greatness of who you are. People will miss their future because of their past. People will wreck their future because they're looking behind them. Whatever is on inside of you is what's going to come out of you. You know how far the promised land journey was actually from when start to finish? It's only 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into 40 years because they had too many doubters in the camp.
Let me say this too. So I came to realize that I'm not saying that time does not exist, but there is two different times between my time and God's time. And so I think when it comes to manifestation and having things that we want, if it is told to us to live in the moment, why and it says right now you have everything you need, right? You just have to see it. And everything is in plain sight. It's kind of hard for others to be able to recognize those opportunities and those things. But my point is about time. I think when we set a goal, we may say 5 years from now. We may say, oh, that's going to be long to get there. Or even placing it there instead of here. We've just created a distance between our goal and where we're at when you can have that now. You see what I'm saying? Like I saw myself saying, oh, I want to be in the industry. I want to go there. I want to be signed there. And it felt like it was a distance. But the way that the world works today, you can come a hit overnight in a second due to internet exposure, going viral or whatever. And I think that everything that we do need is around us. It's what we speak and how we go about making that happen.
God already told them that they were going to go to the promised land and have the promised land. But you had 10 folk, if Joshua and Caleb and then the other 10 that came, them 10 said they couldn't do it. And so he waited for all of them to die and let the young folk go in there because the older folk, they were already tainted. It was nothing he could do.
And that seems like what's happening today. It seemed like our older generations do not understand this new way of living. As far as we're being more bold, we're expressing ourselves,
not taking a whole lot of mess from nobody. Right?
Dealt with a lot back then. We even spoke about marriages where the man was the breadwinner and the woman dealt with certain things. You didn't know that your husband had 7 kids across the street or somewhere else because we didn't have the technology we have today. And when the man is supporting you, what could you say or what could you do? Now you have women working for themselves, fending for themselves. You think they gonna go bust their butt and come home to let somebody talk trash to them or treat them any kind of way? They're looking at us like, oh, you're bad, bad, bad. There's no such thing. I'ma say as good as bad. You know right from wrong. Right? We know if I was to kill you or harm you, that's wrong. I know that for me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's for anybody. But a lot of the stuff is being misjudged and judged too harshly. Like sometimes, like I'm telling you right now, I know it's an older person out there wishing that they would have lived the way someone else is living right now without all the boundaries or you can't do this and you can't do that. Like, how could you live a happy life?
The grave is full of potential.
Yes, and I think that when you do go to God and build a relationship, you go as you are, not make yourself perfect first. Because when you build a relationship with God, you will begin to understand and see what it is that's trying to show you why this is that, why that's not a good route to go, and why you should be a lot more calm than responding so quick. And then you begin to change your ways because you see what works better for you, not forcing you can't do this and can't do that. Nobody's going to abide by that and they don't know why. So that's why experience is the best teacher. It's a lot more open for opportunity for peace and change to come compared to back then when you felt stuck and there was nothing you could do about your own hope of peace.
So stuck on, we have to be in control. We can't let God drive. We're trying to hold the steering wheel.
Because that's that dark area. When people don't, the faith comes in when you allow yourself to be in those dark moments and be guided out by another sensory, which is self, spirit, touch, or even smell. You might smell your way out of a bad situation because, anything can lead you. You don't have to see it by eyes to know. We all need to announce that I don't know. I don't know about the end. I don't know about the next minute. I don't know about the next day. I know nothing, my God. But I don't think people give God the opportunity. And you know what? It's not giving God no opportunity. I don't think people recognize what God is doing when they're in those dark areas. It's like when they throw tantrums after things don't go their way. Like a toddler. And then, yes, a baby. And then when, they get upset, and when you come out of that, you don't see it as a blessing. You're mad at the time that it took. Whatever it's never one of those moments like, whoa, like I came out of that must have been God or something. And then even if they do find out that it was God, I don't think people are reapplying the method they used to see God again. You see what I'm saying? It's like you go in turmoil, it happens, and then it's over. But nobody is saying, well, what did I do for that to happen like that? What did I say? One time I called out Jesus. I was coming off the fence of believing in Jesus. I'm like, I'm hearing this. It was a boat, a ship. What if Jesus isn't real? What if Jesus is just one of us? God is in all of us. When you experience him, you want to tell people about that honey milk because they do be real, real good. But it was like one day I just called out Jesus and just let everything go. And was like, I knew there was nothing I could do. And that's when I saw God like moving. And I was like, whoa. And then I kept doing that. I'm like, let me just stay calm. And then as I stayed calm through that situation, so many things was happening. Right. But I kept applying the same method. Like, okay, just gonna hold on tight. Okay, I'm gonna calm down. Wait, okay, let me try that again. This time I'm just gonna take a nap and completely forget about it. I wake up to the phone call I need. And then next thing you know, it just kept working. And I'm like, I'm going to keep doing that right there. Because that works. So let me calm down and let God take the wheel. And as I saw God kept doing it over and
over
and over and over. I'm like, so it's nothing that he will not do for me.
Yeah,
so
he can't give you what you want if you're not willing to go what it takes to have it. Because one thing God is not is irresponsible. So if you want this certain platform, but you haven't went through none, it's like this. You want to be the CEO of this major business, but you too good to mop the floor and sweep and learn how to keep up with the money and learn how to, I might have to change the light. But if you can't do the janitor part of the CEO part, why would God put you over everybody else? You don't even know how to work all the different roles yet.
Y'all, but that is the life behind Ricky. This was a good subject. It was really, really great. Thank you so much for coming. I thought you didn't want to minister that. That's what you did today. But look, so where can they find you at?
My Instagram is Prince, Prince, Ricky, Ricky, and then an R behind it. And my Facebook is Ricky Reed.